Oh, well, you stupid thing. Oh, come on.
Up and running? So it's a little bit of a crapshoot. Sure.
All right. We are here for a special meeting tonight, and I think before we call the meeting to order, I think we should have a moment of silence for all those in Texas affected by the recent school transfer. And moving on to business. We can't add anything to the agenda, so I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Chad.
Second.
Second by Roger. All in favor, raise your hand. Okay, motion passes 6-0. And then we are here for the budget hearing, so Mr. Clark.
Well, virtual credits with our partnership with Graduation Alliance have increased. We're hoping, we're under audit right now. Well, we've audited and now we're appealing the audit. So we need to increase our virtual fund from 1.5 million to 1.947 million with the hopes that here before the end of this week or early next week, the state approves those extra credits. There were some snafus in how it was uploaded to the state through the KCAM system. So we're providing them documentation of all the credits to show when they were completed. And I talked to Craig Nineschwander yesterday at the state. I don't want to sound too positive because I would be wrong if I said I thought 100% it would happen, but I feel like we've got a pretty good case. I don't think their auditor knew necessarily how to deal with that many students getting credits. So I would ask that the board approve the republication of the budget.
I'll move.
A motion by Roger,
I'll second.
a second by Josh. Is there any further discussion? So I have a question. What happens if they don't approve those credits?
Graduation Alliance doesn't get paid.
Okay.
And that doesn't leave us in breach of contract?
No, because
Okay.
they are the ones carrying most of the load on this. So I had a conversation with Greg Harp today, and you know, they don't want to, lose out on that money, but they understand you got to operate within the system. And I do feel pretty positive about it because I've seen how we're documenting it out and they're documenting it out, and I think we'll be all right. But I don't want to say 100% because they didn't predict rain today, and it's rained all day. So that's kind of
that's something that you can learn, or they can learn in the future from.
Yes, we are developing trying to develop even a better system where they're going to be the ones uploading some of the stuff to KCAM, and it'll run through me and Graduation Alliance, so we don't have this. It boils down to some credits that we had kids earned in June of last year that we uploaded in August that they're not wanting to give us credit for, but we've got documentation. So like I said.
Is that because it passed over the fiscal year?
And Power School shut down. So.
Yeah, what this does is this doesn't affect the general fund at all because the general fund is high enough. It's just that the virtual budget wasn't high enough to allow for those payments to Graduation Alliance. So it's increased by $400,000 if you notice the difference of the two numbers there. That gives us the authority to write those checks to Graduation Alliance, but it doesn't mean we're gonna.
No.
We're just gonna wait and see. But if those credits get approved, we have the authority to do that without having, because we have a deadline on republishing. The State Department says May 15th. But since we're not doing general fund, they're giving us an exception. So as soon as tomorrow, Brad was here, but he's not, but we'll have Mr. Clark get these up to Brad Schermeyer, the president has to sign, and then I'm going to email those in. And they told me it's not as significant as if we had to do the general fund because that affects their state aid. So our state aid's not changing, This is just giving us authority to write those checks if we need to, but we're not gonna
If we don't
those
get the
credits
money.
aren't approved. But I just wanna make sure we can and not have to worry about not being able to pay. So it doesn't affect the general fund at all. So they were very helpful at the state, and they go, Diane, just whenever you have your special meeting, just send us the stuff the next day. So it may or may not happen, but we got the authority in case it does happen, so.
Okay, I have a motion on the table to allow republication of the budget, and I have a second, so all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes 6-0. Okay, then, Mr. Clark, you have a special presentation?
Yes, I do. Hey, Jamie. This is why you're here, Jamie.
She was so nervous, she goes, I think
I'm not
we're
going to
going to
ask you about, come on up, Jamie. Everybody on camera needs to see you. Well, I had received an email, and it was probably one of the many thousands of emails that I get a day that I didn't just delete. And it was the Kansas State Pupil Transportation Association wanted people to nominate outstanding bus drivers and so forth. So I nominated you. Okay, and I think it was rigged because you didn't win it. But you were one of the only 13 people in the state that were nominated. So I'm going to read a few things here. It says, on behalf of the Kansas State Pupil Transportation Association, thank you for submitting a Distinguished Service Award nomination on behalf of Jamie Zink. We received a record 13 nominations this year. Congratulations on having such an upstanding, caring person in your organization. We need more people like her in the school transportation world. Now I'm going to read you what I wrote to them, okay? Because this is all true. Jamie Zink is the transportation angel for USD 112 Central Plains. Jamie has driven a bus for the Claflin School District and now the consolidated USD 112 Central Plains for 32 years. The thing that impresses me most about Jamie is that her focus is all on the kids. She spends hours devising the best routes to get kids to school and home each day. Parents have Jamie's cell phone number and can text or call her with any change of plans, and Jamie just makes it happen. We pick up students on paved roads, gravel roads, and some that can't even be considered roads, and Jamie always has her bus clean and presentable to the families and students she serves. Jamie is our transportation director and has a great professional development plan for her drivers. She has written and received several EPA grants that have helped our district purchase new buses. Jamie was one of the first transportation directors in the state to get school buses with seat belts. We are very proud of that accomplishment. She is responsible for getting all of the maintenance done on our massive fleet of vehicles, from buses to vans to cars. She makes sure they are all in tip-top shape and ready to transport students and staff safely. During the recent COVID pandemic, Jamie oversaw the cleaning of every bus every week. We used a Clorox 360 machine, which I know I saw your husband having you do sometimes, even though he was taller, to ensure that the drivers and students were safe. Jamie has been several of our athletic teams' good luck charms, for example, state volleyball. Jamie makes my job as a superintendent so much easier. She knows the students and their needs and our transportation needs, and I get out of her way and let her do her job. The greatest compliment I can give Jamie is that the kids just love her. Hugs are given, tears are wiped away, and a safe ride to school is a given when Jamie Zink is behind the wheel. USD 112 could not operate without Jamie, and it's with this I fully support and nominate her for the Distinguished Service Award in Transportation. So, Jamie is an angel for me. So she gets this nice plaque. I'll give you a hug. Heck with that. She's a great lady. So, thank you. Sorry I lied to you about why she didn't be here. So, and everybody in this district's paranoid because it said presentation and everybody didn't know what it was. So, but she earned it. She's a great lady.
Thank you for everything you do, Jamie. Okay, now, number 6, board approval of summer help.
You have a sheet there that lists what We're down a custodian right now at the high school, and here. Yes, you're correct, and here, yes. So we do have a couple extra summer helpers than normal. We have one in the hospital over at the high school, and we're still short a person here at the elementary school.
So it has on here for technology, we'll have Sherry Gerard, technology and custodial, Melissa Watson, custodial, Lexi Ogier, Wilson Waits, Ted Long, Katie Zelinka, Cooper Weinhold, sorry. With the last two splitting their hours. And then for Central Plains High School, Waits, Pat Siles, and Christina. For painting, Kayleen Gaddis, mowing, Aaron Gonzalez, and summer meals delivery, Terry Whitmer. I would entertain a motion to approve those.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Chad,
Second?
second by Allison. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 6-0. And then board approval of Jesse Haberger for 0.5 para at CPES, Mandy Griffin for half para at CPES, Macy Squires for daycare at Wilson, and Maya Squires for daycare at Wilson.
On those last two, if for any odd reason the daycare didn't happen, they would be paras, but more than likely they would probably just go back to the job that they're doing as a nanny. But my hope is that we have that daycare up and running sooner rather than later. It's still a lot of work to do, but that is the plan.
Do we need to have that listed as daycare / para?
We could, yes.
I would entertain a motion to approve.
I'll move. Second.
Motion by Roger, second by Chad. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 6-0. And then on to the discussion of the district office location. So, does anyone feel it necessary to, I don't know, let me kind of point out some of the high points from each one. We have Plum Creek and Holyrood, the rec building, Old Elementary School in Claflin, and then the old city building at Bushton. And the agreements that we had offered last month were $1,000 a month at Plum Creek for 2 apartments, one being a 2-bedroom, one being a 1-bedroom. There would be 2 bathrooms, and they offered to do revisions to put in a doorway between apartments. It says that these apartments would be at the south end of the building and a ways away from any other tenants they currently have. And they would have adjoining patio for outside entrance. That was $1,000 per month, with the only utility for a 1 year, with the contract being reviewed every year thereafter if it was extended, or $850 a month for a 5-year. And the utilities would be, we would be responsible for electric, and all other utilities would be included. For the Claflin Elementary School, there was no rent It was for a 10-year agreement that could be exited with 2-year notice. And the cost was 10% of utilities. I was getting to that. I don't have the square footage written down. But it was, there's a bathroom up there or the bathroom on the main hallway. And then 2,500. Yeah, that's what I was getting to that, but I didn't have it written down. Thank you. We did have anonymous donors offer to supply half of the paint and the carpeting to have that be done. The only other cost that I was looking through is that we would be responsible for costs associated with ADA requirements. But I know Mr. Ford said that he talked to
An architect.
an architect that said that as long as there was access, and they do have the lift on the south end of the building. And since they're putting a ramp down the 2 steps to the bathroom, that should grant access to ADA bathrooms. Is that correct? Okay. We, of course, would be responsible for insurance costs. And then for computer services or required upgrades of electrical service. And then as far as Bushin, there was 1,500 square foot of office space and an additional 4,000 square foot of storage space. There is a storm shelter. It would allow Jamie to be able to wash buses inside. There were 3 offices. Correct? Is that correct, Phil?
Yeah.
And a bathroom. We would be responsible for all utilities. There was a offer for $850 per month, lease to purchase for 8 years. Shorter term, $1,850 for 4 years. And then there was a direct purchase offer as well.
I think it was 104,000.
Thank you. For 104,000. So that being put forth.
And the portable, you had the portable too, but we're not, I just thought I'd throw that one out there.
Sorry, yes, we did.
That I wanted to
Was
make
that
sure,
60,000
60,000,
Right.
and we'd probably have
plus setup?
setup and stuff, which I think might be quite a bit, actually. I don't have a number on that, but we know that would be an added expense.
60,000 for the portable, and then we would have to run setup for electrical and other utilities. Okay, that being said, I would like to open the floor for any further discussion.
So one of the things that comes to my mind is, as we're looking at all of the options as a whole, anything that involves owning another building to maintain gives me pause at this point. It's another building to maintain and pay insurance on and repair the roof and maintain the HVAC and all that. So that causes me to hesitate. Also because what's our what's our end game? So I feel like right now we're a little bit in a holding pattern of getting by to get to what the long game is. So one of the other solutions in the back of my mind is there is space at Wilson. However, that only makes sense if Wilson's going to be in the district long term while we ride this out and figure out the end game. if they're gonna be here for 5 years, it makes sense, that's free space, right? We're already paying utilities, we already have insurance and all of that. So that's one of the big things for me is, do we really wanna own another building to maintain? I guess that's one of my questions to everybody. Is that really what we want to decide to do?
I agree with that. I don't think we should own another building right now. I mean, we've already got 3 buildings we're taken care of. I don't think we should have another one. And I think Wilson would be a viable option, but I don't want to move it up there just to move it back if it changes. Personally, I mean, that's just a lot of hassle.
Right.
To me, the numbers, running all the numbers, Claflin's by far the cheapest. Even if, like, going through these utilities, even if you triple them of what they are now, it's still going to be the same or cheaper than anywhere else. And as far as I know, all the flooring's guaranteed. I think most of the paint will get donated. So I'm counting it that way. So I'd make a motion to put it at Claflin.
There's a motion on the table from Dalton to move the district office to the city of Claflin. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
There's a second by Roger. Any further discussion?
So on our lease now, with the rec, for the gym and stuff,
Mhm.
what is our expense there?
We
I mean,
pay,
what do we pay?
Bobby would know, I think it's around 3,000 a year for gas and electric, and then we do redo the gym floor. I think there's a cap at 3,000 on gas and electric. That's actually pretty good, because I know when they run the boiler, it can get pretty expensive. We do redo the gym floor, and I don't remember what that cost is.
Is that annually that you do the
Yes.
gym floor?
Yes, because we do post games there.
And expenses wise, did we pay for the portion of the roof?
The roof, yes, the lights, no.
Just for square footage, just what the square footage.
The roof was a third.
I think, was that what it was? I could.
Dustin has some numbers here, I don't know what they are, if you guys want to look at,
That's utility cost.
We'll look at them.
I think it averages out to about 250 a month.
Yeah, if you would average all those out, it's gonna be about for the 10% of that.
Is there internet and everything on the second floor already?
Pardon me?
Is there internet and everything up on the second floor?
It's been wired for internet, and you might be able to answer that better than I can, Diane. I know they used to have internet there. They got all the cables there from, that were in the office.
I can answer that.
Okay.
Yes.
Jesse would have to have-
Jesse works up there, and then all of the surveillance video pipes into there.
Okay.
Where it's
I'm
monitored.
just asking because that could add a lot of extra costs. So what do we use the gym for? Do we use it for games?
We use it for practice and games.
Games,
Volleyball and basketball.
Volleyball and basketball.
Both high school and junior high?
yeah,
Not junior high.
now,
High
Yeah.
school sometimes. If there's a junior high game going on, they'll go down there to practice a little bit. So my, I guess, biggest hesitation right now is those mini splits and whether or not, we're gonna have to do that or not, because I would echo Allison on the fact that this is, in my mind, kind of a short-term solution until we can hopefully pass it on
I
and
don't think it's
move
going to happen
on.
for a while.
I realize it's gonna be 2 to 3 years on the
I
basket.
bet 5.
Yeah, I know, but I don't want to have to put a lot of money. I would just like to express just my thoughts for people who have asked me my thoughts and concerns. And having people donate the paint and the carpet has definitely alleviated some of that. If we were gonna have to pay $14,000 for carpet and then another $14,000 for mini splits, and we're only hoping to have this be a 3-4 year thing until we get a pond passed, the cost really kind of about evened out. So that was one of my thoughts and one of my hesitations. I also, just the timing, I mean, the elephant in the room here, the timing of all of this, the perception could be very divisive for the whole district, and I don't want there to be that perception. So I want to make sure that everyone knows that we, as a board, are trying to make the best decisions for the entire district, fiscally, financially. It is not personal at all, any of these decisions. It's trying to look out for what's best for the district. And it is hopefully just a means to get by so that we didn't have to move the 6th graders to a less conducive environment. I feel like it is kind of silly that I have heard so much dissension over a district office. No offense at all, Mr. Clark, Diane, Bobby, but we're not moving a huge employment base. We're not moving students. So there's not a big reason to get so concerned about the district office. It really should be about the numbers and what makes the most sense.
I guess one of the other hesitations I have with the agreement with the Claflin Rec is a 2-year notice is kind of a long notice to be committed. So essentially, if we agree to this now, that means that for at least 2 years we're in that, locked in, correct? And I feel like that's a little bit unfortunate. To be day one, you've got 2 years that you're locked into the agreement. And then that 2 years continues to be pushed out 2 years. So it's not even like you can commit to 2 years, and at that 2 years, then you can make that decision point again. It's perpetually pushed out for 10 years. So I guess that gives me a little bit of pause as well. It feels less flexible, if that makes sense.
And that was one of my hesitations without reading through the entire agreement, with it being proposed as a 10-year agreement. Right. Yeah. So we are fortunate to have some representatives at the meeting. Would you be amenable to changing that to a 1 year?
Yeah, I think it would be easy for the city to modify that.
And in all honesty, I mean, let's say we were to pass a bond issue and part of that was to add a district office somewhere, I could imagine that being at least 2 years from, the bond passed.
Yeah.
It could be 2 years. I don't.
Right.
But I understand your points of concern too. So.
For example, if Wilson is going to stay in the district, then I don't want to be perpetually pushing out 2 more years, because once that decision point is made, I would rather utilize space we have than continue to be outside of district facilities. So I think there's just a lot of moving parts that I could see. Is it a bond? Is it the pursuit of a land transfer is taken off the table? There's other things that could come into play that make it more attractive to not be, does our enrollment change or our classrooms shift or something, that there's just space available that we want to make that move in less than 2 years.
So then maybe I would like to amend Dalton's motion to approve the transfer of the district office to the old elementary school in Claflin pending approval that the contract be modified to a 1-year agreement,
Early termination.
early termination. Thank you, Casey.
Second that.
Okay, so there's a second. Now we're gonna take a vote.
Who seconded?
Chad,
Chad.
on the amendment. So all those in, do you want me to do a roll call or can we just?
Okay, you're making a motion to amend the previous motion. Is that what you're doing?
Yes,
Okay,
yes. So now we have to vote on the amendment.
correct. Then you'll do another motion.
Yes.
Okay.
So what's that mean? We gotta wait for them to say we can do it in 1 year?
No, we can approve it as long as they approve the 1-year early termination. So as long as they approve it, it's fine, we're good.
There's not gonna be a problem there, I'll guarantee you that.
Okay, Josh? Sorry, I'm just gonna go around. Josh?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Okay, so the amendment passes 6-0. So now the motion is essentially what the amendment was, that you approved.
You're making that motion. I'm sorry.
So now we'll go back to Dalton's motion of moving the district office to Claflin with the amendment that it is a pending approval of a 1-year early termination by the rec and city of Claflin. Does that all make sense?
We'll find out.
Okay, so now, Josh? Roger?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm a yes. Ed?
Yes.
Allison? Yes.
Okay, so who seconded? Dalton made?
Roger
Okay,
Roger
thank you.
seconded, yeah.
Same as before.
Yes.
Okay,
Well, we don't have to remake that initial motion.
correct.
Yeah.
Just Dalton and Roger.
Yes. The motion passed 5-1.
5-1, I missed that. I'm sorry. Who's the one?
Josh?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. Then I would entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Chad, seconded by Allison. All in favor, raise your hand. Motion passes 6-0. Thank you for all being here. Thank you guys for
Josh, was this your pen?
I can't believe